Another day, another dollar in this beautiful world we call truck driving. Now, every once in a while, I get these magazines from OIDA. This one is the Landline magazine, September 2025 edition, the latest and greatest edition. I get it from OIDA. They send it every month. They send me a new one. And I always scroll through it. And obviously, if I'm doing a video about it, there must be something in this article, in this book. There must be some news up in here that you could perhaps use. So I'm scrolling through here, and I've been getting these books for years. But I just happened to look through it. Let me see what page it was on. I'm just flipping through the pages. Of course, in the back of the book, they always got, different companies and brands and, places you can go and get truck parts and engines and CPAs and stuff like that. That's also in the Truck Paper magazine that's free at the truck stops. Man, I'm just scrolling through here. I don't even know what page it is, so I'm scrolling right now because I don't know what page it was on. I'm like, man, good God almighty. Did y'all see that guy that busted that U-turn on the interstate, took out that whole family? Good God almighty. I know if I put that video up on YouTube, they're going to flag my channel, so I can't put up that video. But man, he busted that U-turn. I'm talking about wiped out the whole family. And the only punishment he gonna get, he gotta leave the United States and come back through Mexico again. That's crazy. But let me keep flipping, cause I know it was some. Oh, found it. Hoo-wee, boy. I'm gonna give you the headline, page 85. Page 85 if you happen to read this article, but here's the title. $69 for 70 hours a week. Now, when a title like that, I got to read on. I got to. Can y'all see this? Wait a minute, hold on. Flip it like this. Hold on now. You see that? See, I'm not making it up. I got to read on. I said, wait a minute, hold on. $69 for 70 hours of work. Who doing that? Who doing that? I got to read on. Okay. Misclassification lawsuit reaches a modest settlement. Ooh. Misclassification, huh? First thing I thought, 1099 company driver. Okay, here we go. Less than $1 an hour. Okay, less than $1 an hour. That's how it starts. That is what at least one truck driver claims to have received for a week's worth of work while working for. Now, I'm not gonna put the trucking company name out here, but let me give you some context clues. Let me see if they give us a city and state. But so far, just the beginning, what would you say this trucking company could possibly be located? Let me read it again. Less than $1 an hour. That's what at least one truck driver claims to have received for a week's worth of work while driving for blank. You fill in the blank. Who was he driving for? I know what Andrew, come on now. That could be a lot of companies. No. This says less than $1 an hour. Not less than minimum wage. Less than $1 an hour. I'm trying to figure out who out there working for less than $1 an hour. Okay, let's continue. The claims from the driver and other recently led to a settlement. However, the settlement may not put a dent in what the truck drivers believe they are owed. Okay. Truck drivers believe they owe some more money, but they got a settlement. What's up with this settlement? Tell me more about the settlement. If approved, the settlement ends a relatively short dispute alleging the trucking company paid drivers well under the state and federal minimum wage by unlawfully deducting wages and forcing them to bear certain expenses. What kind of expenses are they facing? And where is this trucking company located? The lawsuit is a classic misclassification dispute alleging that blank trucking company had extraordinary control over the truck drivers it signed on as an independent contractor, aka 1099 truck driver. Truckers would work 70 hours a week and only to receive a They came up with a new word, y'all, to try to describe this paycheck. They calling it a paltry paycheck. I don't know what that means. Paltry paycheck. What is that? What is a paltry paycheck? Is that like, you know, when you gambling or something? And what is that? What was it? Somebody look that up. According to the lawsuit, interstate truck drivers were required to sign an independent contractor agreement to drive for said company. Despite their employment status, drivers had little control over their operation. Now, come on, that's all 1099 company drivers and lease drivers. I mean, that's the whole trucking industry. The company's control over its independent contractor drivers include, okay, they got a big box. They got a big box of what all you guys could not do at this set trucking company. See, we gotta say set trucking, company because it applies to a lot of trucking companies. It gets deeper. Okay, this is what the lawyers for the truck drivers. This is what they came up with. What the drivers were not allowed to do. Drivers were not allowed to have their own customer. Never heard that one before. Drivers were not allowed to negotiate rates with customer or broker. Okay, that applies to that's about 100% right there. As far as that's everybody. That's lease drivers, 1099 company drivers. I don't know nobody that can do that. I'm trying to show you how easy it is to sue a trucking company for misclassification. Just so we all on the same page. This is what the lawyers, when you go to court with the trucking company, because it's real easy to take a trucking company to court, and more than likely the trucking company gonna lose, especially when it comes to misclassification. That's why Vladimir Putin, they knew better when they got that certified letter. Send that man his money, because if he continues, it's gonna get worse. Let's make sure he ain't missing a penny. Make sure he get it all. Drivers cannot choose their own routes. When I was working for Vladimir Putin, I didn't want to go across Cheyenne, Wyoming in the wintertime. Wind blowing 80 miles per hour. Can only go 15 miles per hour throughout the whole city, might as well say the whole state during the wintertime. I didn't want to be in Salt Lake City, Utah. We ain't making no money. Was I working for $1 an hour? Any time off required timely advance notice to the trucking company. Drivers face discipline or termination if they fail to notify the company of time off. Well, I think that applies to all trucking companies. I think you do have to tell them at least, hey, I'm taking home time. So far everything this kind of applies to all trucking companies. But let's continue. All trucks were owned by the trucking company, included GPS tracking and the company's logo. See, that applies to everybody. I mean, if you 1099 company driver or lease driver, I mean, the trucks pretty much gonna belong to the company. It's gonna have their company logo, not your logo. It ain't got your logo. You renting the truck though. You know you're paying weekly truck notes, $1,000 a week, but it ain't got your logo on the truck. Unless of course you at Prime Meeting. That's the one exception. But you don't work for Prime Meat though. Equipment had to be serviced at the truck company yard. Oh, here's the state in Illinois. Who's in Illinois? Who is in Illinois? Wonder who could possibly be in Illinois. There's got drivers up there misclassified and working for less than $1 an hour, $69 for 70 hours a week in Illinois. I wonder who that could possibly be. Who could it possibly be? I'm gonna have to look up. We're gonna have to think about this. We're gonna have to think about who's up in Illinois. Got drivers working for less than $1 an hour, $69 for 70 hours a week. Expenses drivers ain't never heard of. Okay. Drivers were required to submit all bill of lading, logbooks, and other required paperwork to the trucking company. Now that applies to all trucking companies. I mean, we all need the BOLs. But I'm just showing you what the lawyer went up in court and what he said. Okay. Essentially, independent contractor truck drivers were at the mercy of the company's dispatcher policies, procedures. Independent contractors were paid a percentage of each load haul. Okay, man, I did that up in Illinois too. Remember, I think I was getting 30% of the load as a 1099 misclassified company driver. Oh, wait, I think I know who I was working for. Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin strikes again. Damn it, boy. Vladimir Putin up there in Illinois, $69 for 70 hours of work, less than $1 an hour. Can y'all see? Is that the trucking company? Anybody seen this trucking company right here? See if we can get the focus. Anybody seen them? Right there. Anybody seen them up there in Illinois? I need to call Lottie Dottie. And see if he is. Lottie Dottie, you part of this settlement, this lawsuit they got going on up there? Hold on now. Plaintiffs in the lawsuit claimed that unlawful deductions were taken from their paycheck. Same thing happened to PH. I just went over his paycheck. Boy, did y'all see the deductions? Did y'all see the deductions on PH paycheck? He worked out of Illinois too for the Russians. And this is what they claiming though. I don't think PH ain't at this company. PH ain't at this company. I don't know what PH are. I'm scared for you now, PH. It's bad when it's in a magazine like this getting shipped to my house. This almost like the newspaper. This is frontline newspaper. It's like they shipped the newspaper to my house. Let me read it again. Plaintiffs in the lawsuit claims unlawful deductions were taken from their paycheck, including insurance, escrow, truck cleaning. Dang, they got Party Hard for truck cleaning too. I think they charged them $200. Party Hard, they talking about. They got the lawyer on the stand or whatever the lawyer. He talking to the judge. This is a lawsuit. No, this is what they saying in the lawsuit. Let me read it again. Plaintiffs in the lawsuit. Plaintiffs are the truck drivers. The truck drivers in the lawsuit claimed unlawful deductions were taken from their paycheck, including insurance, escrow, truck cleaning fees, and maintenance and repairs. I don't even know if this is a 1099 company driver now, because maintenance and repairs, are they charging company drivers for maintenance and repairs? This sounds like some leasing situation. Is this leasing? They didn't say nothing about no truck note though. Those deductions would come to thousands of dollars per week. This got to be a lease driver. The deductions, let me read it again. Those deductions would come to thousands of dollars per week and were never authorized by the truck driver. This is a lease driver. This is new. I don't know how this makes sense though, but a lease driver is claiming to be misclassified. This is a lease driver. This ain't no 1099 company driver with little deductions. This sounds like a lease driver that have, going through what PH going through, found him a lawyer, and they saying, man, you really a company driver. We can get up for misclassification. You're not a lease driver. You're not a lease driver. You know why you're not a lease driver or independent contractor? See, they don't say lease driver, they say independent contractor. Because the independent contractor, whether you're paying for the truck or not, drivers were not allowed to have their own customer. PH can't have his own customer. Drivers were not allowed to negotiate rates with customer or broker. PH can't do none of that. Drivers cannot choose their own route. PH can't tell that dispatcher, where you want to go. I already tried that, so I know. He got to give timely advance notices. He can't just up and leave like Andrew. Andrew just, when that money got funny, I was gone. I ain't asked for no permission. I was gone. Yep, okay, let's continue reading, boy. It's a big article. Shoot, boy, hold on now. Okay, where we at? Truck driver claimed he received a $69 paycheck after working 70 hours in a week. This is what Vladimir Putin doing with the rest of the money right here. You see that? That's what Vladimir. That's when Friday hit, and he sending you your $69 paycheck. This Vladimir Putin right here. That's what he says. Beer time. We got all his money. Party time. Although the trucking company classified plaintiffs and other delivery drivers as independent contractors, the behavior and financial control manifested over the drivers by the trucking company demonstrates that they were employees of the trucking company, the lawsuit states. So whether they were 1099, company driver, lease driver, the lawyer is saying that they was merely employees, which I definitely agree. These are nothing more than employees. It's totally misclassified. They don't get paid nothing like what somebody like me with a motor carrier who makes their whole paycheck in like 1 or 2 days. Empty trailer just going down the road and back, home all week, partying, going to that club, Current independent contractors for the trucking company filed a lawsuit in February 2024. So this happened last year. In March of this year, 2025, so they filed the lawsuit 1 year ago. And it sounded like it were multiple drivers. So it sounded like a lot of people up in Chicago. We can't say Chicago. It didn't give us a city, but we all know Illinois. Sound like this trucking company had a whole bunch of drivers working for free and not the fee. A whole lot of them. That's insane when everybody at a trucking company just work for free. Everybody work for free. Nobody's making money. Nobody. I'm pretty sure all these drivers got that one paycheck for $3,000. They got one. The rest of them, $200, $500, 30 cents, 40 cents. Okay. In March, oh, wait a minute. Got it wrong. It says in February 2024, that's when they filed the lawsuit. The very next month, in March, the lawsuit was granted class action status by the courts. A settlement was reached a few months later. They filed the lawsuit in February 2024. They found a lawyer, the truck drivers. They went to the lawyer, told him what was going on. The lawyer already knew. You know, he ain't nothing he ain't heard before. The lawyer been sitting back waiting for you fools to show up to his office. Cause the first thing the lawyer thinking is, well, first of all, you already got an open shut case. You gonna win. I'm just trying to determine how much money me the lawyer, how much I'm finna get off this. Cause I'm trying to shoot. What trucking company you work for? Dang, it ain't Super Ego. Dang, cause Super Ego got a lot more money. This is one of them small mom and pop trucking companies. I thought you were going out to the big trucking company. You going out to one of these small trucking companies. So the very next month, lawyer put in the lawsuit. The court says, hey man, we gonna go ahead and grant this class action status. A settlement was reached a few months later from the trucking company. Trucking company saw the lawsuit, saw we got class action status. They already know they ain't got no defense. They ain't no defense. They ain't no defense for no misclassification. It's just like I already told you, I sent my letter off. The minute that the post office knocked on their door for them to sign for that crap, tell you, money instantly. Because they know you can pay, it's cheaper to pay me all my money, or if I take it on to court, you're gonna have to pay a lot more money. Just gonna pay me what I pay me my escrow, pay me what you owe, or pay a lot more later. And PH got shoot. He got a case so big, good God almighty. He just don't know it. It don't cost much to show up at these lawyers. It don't cost that much. You probably don't even need no money at all, to be honest with you, because the case so big. I mean, shoot, they'll do it for free. This free money for them. Shoot, all this pain and suffering and agony and loss of wages and ridiculous expenses and man. I think PH got a class action lawsuit. I come here and got up there. I put my name on the list too. Put my name on the list too. Shoot, we can get paid off this. Hold on, Mr. Trucking Company. I know my suit and tie guys up at the Russians. I know y'all gonna see this video. We need to come together for PH. I think PH got him a good. I think you can get some money. How much they owe you? How much they owe you? They ain't gonna get that escrow back. Ooh, maybe they don't need to get that escrow back. Maybe you find you a lawyer up there in Illinois. I'm just saying. Okay, let's continue. A settlement was reached a few months later. However, the truck drivers are not getting much back. They ain't getting much back, y'all. They ain't getting much back. You probably thinking, Andrew, so what's the point if they ain't getting much back? Okay, well, let's continue reading. According to the settlement agreement, the trucking company will fork over $45,000. Now, that's a lot of money for a trucking company to fork out. After attorney fees, the independent contractors who drove for the company will split $30,000. So the lawyer get $15,000. The attorneys, they get $15,000. They win, because this is an open and shut case. All they did was file a lawsuit. That's it. You came to them. They took. They already. They didn't heard the story plenty of times, so they probably already had set paperwork already drafted. What is this? Misclassification from a trucking company in Illinois. Open that book up there on the top shelf that says misclassification lawsuit. Yeah, sat that on the desk. They probably just took out a pen. What's the name of the trucking company? Wrote that crap. Send that off to be filed. How much y'all want to sell it for? How much y'all want to settle for? They gonna settle, because they go to court. Oh my God, it's gonna be too ugly. No, why just $45,000? I know that's what you're thinking. The settlement agreement states that this amount will come to $34.24 for each work of employment for any alleged minimum wage violations. Okay, so instead of $1, well, you already got $69, but they're gonna give you $34, for every week of employment. So that's better than what you got. That's you can take that $34, put it in the S&P 500, wait a couple of years, and maybe it'll be $50. Okay. Whew, this is hard, boy. This is hard on the trucking company. Do you know how broke a truck driver got to be? to be sitting in the truck and finally say, you know what, man, y'all done took everything from me. I done lost my family, I done lost my friends, I done lost my ex, my girlfriend, I done lost everything. At this point, I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer, but I'm living in this truck. I ain't got nowhere to go. I ain't got no house, no apartment, no car. I don't own anything. I told all my friends that I don't want to own nothing. So I'm a slave in this truck. So since I'm a whole slave in this truck, man, I might as well just drive and find me a lawyer. I need a lawyer because I lost everything. I ain't got nothing to live for. I'm gonna go find me a lawyer. Y'all don't pay me to drive the truck no way, so I might as well just drive over to a lawyer, you know, some law firm for free. Why I'm gonna continue driving freight for free when I can drive over to see this lawyer for free? He already called. He said he gonna take on the case for free. Cause I'm a whole slave. I ain't got no dollar for him. Only thing I got to eat. You know, I get my Love's points for fueling the vehicle. At least Love's let me eat off the grill, the Devil Grill. You know, it spins 24 hours. I mean, that's what they let. That's how I eat. I eat off the grill. It rolls 24 hours, and if I 30 days, you know, hey, my body ain't gonna look too good. Put it another way, that reimburses for about 2.28 hours of unpaid compensation per week based on the Illinois' $15 per hour minimum wage. So you guys are supposed to be getting at least $15 an hour. That's minimum wage up there in Illinois. However, I mean, they gonna pay you minimum wage, $15 an hour for 2 hours and 28 minutes. Attorneys for the independent contractors indicated that taking the case further would risk getting nothing at all. So if y'all want to know why it was best for them to do a settlement, is because if they took the case on, you know, without the settlement, went through the whole court case, of course the trucking company gonna lose. It says the agreement points to the trucking company's financial conditions when explaining that continued litigation prevents a very real risk that the trucking company would file for bankruptcy and would cease operations, resulting in a reduced recovery or no recovery at all. So basically, this is let me explain what's going on. Truck driver goes to the attorneys, the lawyers. They filed this lawsuit in February. The very next month, the court see the lawsuit. They say, hey man, you got a class action lawsuit. Lawyer, attorneys, they contact the trucking company, or the courts contact the trucking company, whatever the case may be. The lawyer, the attorney, they try to, you know, see how much money this trucking company got in the bank. You know, trucking company ain't got much. Hey, look, man, all we got, let's say they got $60,000 to the trucking company name. They say, okay, well, we understand we can get way more money, into the millions, because something like this, you can get millions of dollars for this, but it just depends how much money in the bank account. Hey, look, we only got $60,000. Okay, well, I tell you what, we'll let you keep 15 to continue running your little trucking company. We need 45,000. We need 45,000. You got 60. We'll take 45. The lawyer gonna keep 15, take 30,000, give it to the truck drivers. Because if they keep going, and let's just say they go throughout the whole case, they awarded, you know, $10 million. Okay, well, the trucking company only got 60,000. They gonna shut down and be in business under some LLC tomorrow. Y'all know how that goes. So you know, it's just like the trucking company PH work with. Yeah, sure, they award you, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million, but how much money do we think the trucking company got? Well, that's for the lawyer to find out. But one thing we do know is it don't even matter how much they got. It's still a win because the trucking company had to fork over $45,000. It was much cheaper to pay the driver. Way cheaper. Way cheaper. So it's like they still lost the money. The escrow $2,500. $2,500, you know, times however many drivers. They still lost. Okay, let's see. The trucking company says, neither the trucking company nor attorneys for the plaintiffs could be reached for comment at the time. At the press time, court approved the settlement. Oh, the courts approved the settlement. So that's the end of the story right there. So that's page 85 in this edition of Landline magazine. As y'all can see, that's a big one right there, boy. That is a big one. That is the title. If y'all wanna see, boom, there it is right there. As y'all can see, the people up in Illinois, Bolingbrook, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, that whole entire inner city. If you are a truck driver working up there for these people, misclassified, you know, you get your settlement, it's got a whole bunch of deductions on there. You know, after we take away all the deductions, you're working for less than minimum wage. You know, you may want to just consider, you know, just contacting a lawyer, contacting an attorney. Just you know, just reach out. It's free to reach out. It's free to call the office. Andrew, how do I find Chat GPT? That's how you find one. Matter of fact, let Chat GPT know what you're going through. Hey man, I think I'm being misclassified up here. I work at a trucking company in Chicago, Illinois. I need to find me a lawyer that can handle this case in Chicago, Illinois. Boy, to start dropping all addresses and phone numbers, and you just call. You got the Bluetooth headset on. You just start calling. Gee, you just start calling. Shoot, boy, I'm telling you, man. First lawyer you pick. Hey man, I'm glad you called me. Did you call anybody else? Nah, don't call nobody else. Nah, I'm glad you called me, man. What trucking company is it? Dang, it ain't Super Ego. Okay. Dang, I thought you. We've been waiting for somebody from Super Ego to call, but I guess it ain't you. Okay, what trucking company? Okay. Yeah, it's one of them small trucking companies. What they doing to you? Misclassification. Misclassification. We got hand me that book on the top shelf up there. Yeah, we got that misclassification book. Who you work for? Do you work for Sam, or Vladimir Putin, or one of them Hey Buddies? Yeah, one of the Hey Buddies. Is the Hey Buddies? Hey buddy. You work for one of them? Okay. Violation. Yup, man. Tell me what they doing to you over there at the trucking company, huh? How much is your check? You ain't got no check. Are you working 70 hours or more than 70 hours? Well, man, you know, they got me working 2 long, but man, I'm really working 120 hours. Okay, so you working 120 hours a week. You mean to tell me you made less than $100? Man, shoot, man, after all these deductions and escrow and truck notes and truck fees and maintenance and repairs and man, you know, I grossed 10,000, but man, after they wiped all this off, man, I ain't even get a check at all. Yeah, man, that sounds like an opening shit. Okay, we need to go and get this lawsuit. I mean, we really need to go and file tomorrow. Tomorrow, Monday, we're gonna go ahead and file, man. You got any buddies over there? You got any buddies over there working for free too? Man, I talked to a driver the other day. He said his check wasn't no better. Okay, we'll get that. Yeah, we're gonna throw him in here. And do he got any buddies over there? Well, man, I know that Andrew, man, he used to work up there. Throw Andrew name up in there too. We finna get paid, but we finna get paid. Dang. I always wanted that brand new Ford Mustang, man. Come on, let's go and get this money. Let's go and get this money. All right, y'all. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. And always remember, like I told a lot of daddy, on Friday, when you get these little ridiculous paychecks, that's what Vladimir, that's what he doing all weekend. Hey, you know what he gonna tell you if you call in, you know, with some questions about why all these deductions on your paycheck? This is what he gonna tell you right here. He gonna say, it is what it is.